Now you know why I film in the garage quite a bit. This is pretty much it.
Train the muscles, not the joints.
So welcome back to Natural Bodybuilding, and today I'm going to talk to you a little bit about overtraining versus undertraining, and what do I think is the biggest problem with people trying to get results in the gym, especially when they're younger, right? Because when you're younger, you have a lot of resources, a lot of vitality to heal from. And of course, as you get older, maybe you don't have quite as much resources to push as hard and to adapt as well. Depending on the person, will depend on how much they age or how fast they age or whatever, but we could always say that you have to really deal with your own individual situation when it comes down to where you were at in your own constitutional needs, right? If you're 90 years old, I mean, maybe you're not going to be doing 100 sets of deadlifts for the day, you know what I'm saying? So you have to kind of take that into account a little bit. But what do I think is a bigger problem, undertraining or overtraining? And a lot of times what I've found is that there's this mass fear in the bodybuilding community, or that has been perpetuated by a lot of, let's just say, so-called experts. Some of them are experts in a certain way. Everybody's an expert in certain experiences, right? But what's being perpetuated is that usually if you're not getting gains, you're overtraining. Overtraining is the reason why you're not getting results, or you're training too much, or you're doing too much volume. And a lot of times, if you talk to any professional, I've found much of the time they'll say that it isn't the overtraining that's the problem, it's the undereating and the undersleeping in a lot of cases. So those of you who are purchasing my exercise sticks, some of you, or at least one of you, has brought up the concern of high cholesterol exercise sticks, because as you know from the last video, I did introduce another way of using your exercise stick. Not only is it good for exercises, specifically for your bodybuilding gains, but you can also use your exercise stick for a source of nutrition. Now, as far as I know, this is the only thing in the industry that you can use as a piece of equipment and also eat it. But somebody did bring up the high cholesterol aspect of some sticks. And I'm going to squash this right now and ask you, have you ever seen a beaver die of a heart attack? I know I haven't. But either way, just in case some of you guys are hell-bent on this cholesterol thing or whatever, I'm gonna find you some low cholesterol sticks in the forest today. They are going to cost extra though, just so you know. Now, I'm not saying there isn't a limit to how much you can train. There is, because then people go the other way where they say, oh, there's no limit, there's no such thing as overtraining. Yes, there is such thing as overtraining. But what I've found is that people have this fear or this phobia of training too hard. And I find that works more against people than the opposite side of the spectrum, right? Because the thing is that even though overtraining is a thing, I find a lot of people never hit that overtraining bracket. What they hit is the undereating or the undersleeping bracket, and they end up blaming training for their lack of results. They're pinning the crime on the wrong person in that case, right? I've seen some people say they train 3 days a week and they can't get their bench press up, or they train 3 days a week and they can't get bigger or stronger or whatever. And I'm gonna say you need to train more. That's probably a good place to start, is training more often. And if you're not recovering, then eat more, sleep more, and see how your body responds to that. Because I found that training 3 days a week was nowhere even near enough for me to get to high-end results in natural bodybuilding. There's no way I could have competed and done as well as I did at the national level or any other level if I had only trained 3 days a week. Because I tried that. I was a lazy person. Like, I wanted to do the bare bones minimum requirement in order to get elite results. And I'm gonna say, if you try to apply the Steve Reeves approach of just 3 days a week and your body's not buying it, then you may need to train more often. So you need to keep an open mind when it comes to this stuff too. And don't let fear dictate your reasoning behind what training technique you choose or what training technique you don't choose. That's really the best advice I can give you. Really look at the results that you're getting and look at how you feel, of course, because how you feel is usually an indicator of what results are going to come. And you're going to start to associate certain sensations in the body with certain results. You're going to start noticing, oh, when I feel this way, this is what happens. When I feel that way, this is what happens. We all know that after you snap something a few times, you start to know what that feeling is in the muscles and the tendons before you snap something, right? So the same thing goes for anabolic results, for results in gaining muscle or losing body fat. You start to understand the science of sensation, right? As much as people try to say sensations don't matter, no, they do matter, right? Your emotional feelings don't matter, but the sensations in the body do matter. You know, when I hit my hand with a hammer, I notice that that sensation doesn't feel very good, and I know that that type of sensation I should probably not try to chase if I want to get more healthy and not have broken bones, right? So based on this logic, I think more often than not, people undertrain rather than overtrain because of life. You know, they're busy doing a lot of other things, which is fine. You know, I'm not saying they're supposed to say, I'm going to be a hardcore bodybuilder, but I'm just here to say, don't blame the wrong thing on why you're not getting a certain amount of results. That's all I'm saying. Actually, I do want to introduce a correction there. There is one piece of equipment that you can eat as well as use for exercise, and ironically enough, it is a type of beaver. Don't explain that joke to your kids. Don't explain that joke to your kids, okay? Because you have to push to the limit to find out where the limit is. Unfortunately, that's kind of what we have to do as athletes. You have to push the body to see where it's adapting now. And also the other thing, and this is a big thing, okay? Sometimes you start training and you're doing 3 days a week, and that's more than enough. You get great results, everything's good. You train 4 or 5 days a week, it's too much. But then one day you find that your body can actually train 4 or 5 days a week instead of 3. You have to try it at least to see if the body is changing how it responds, because the body is an ever-changing vehicle. It's always changing slightly, and you need to push it in different directions once in a while to see where it is adapting to and what is the most appropriate technique for it at this time. So yeah, I hope this helps you out in your training. Hope this helps you understand that, hey, maybe, you know, sometimes it's time to push the limits, and it's time to push yourself a little bit harder and see what happens. And I hope this helps you out. Thanks a lot for watching, and if you need to get hold of me, just go to naturalbodybuilding.com, or you can support me on Patreon like these guys do, and on there I do a podcast and I talk about all this kind of garbage, you know what I'm saying? This garbage I'm talking about. Man, there's so many sticks out here I can sell you guys. Low cholesterol too, 100% low cholesterol sticks. Don't ask me for any of the studies or, you know, I'm not gonna show you any of that stuff, but I'm just saying, you want a stick? The nunchuck special, this one right here, nunchuck special. Anyway, you could tie it together or whatever like that. 100% good exercise stick, you know, nice lightweight, good for warming up, right? Good for warming up. And then at the same time, you can eat it after your workout. It's like a post-workout meal. Sports supplement and equipment at the same time. You know, all for, you know, a little bit under $1,000. It seems like it's worth it to me, huh? Natural land.